Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this game again after I did my halftime report of this, what was a shit show, turned into one of the most absolutely ridiculous comebacks and a super, super good game. I mean, needeth I say more? Oh, I say OT here. It's actually double OT. And I mean, this game was ridiculous. I mean, it was just nonstop, constant, mind blowing play after play after play. The way Arkansas, the way Arkansas just collapsed in the second half of the game and offensively provided nothing, letting Oklahoma State get up 28-21 after being down 21-7 at halftime. And just straight after they get up 28-21, they put together a drive like they are one of the best teams in the country. Like, it was that easy, tying it. 55 seconds left on the clock after a referee malfunction. I don't know what happened there, but the clock was causing a lot of issues. But they kick a field goal after, also, before the clock malfunction, an absolutely hideous call by the referees. The Arkansas guy jumped when he saw a motion man, jumped into the neutral zone. Even the announcers said, like, his helmet was over the line, and, like, the guy totally jumped forward, causing the Oklahoma State offensive lineman to move. Neutral zone infraction, give Oklahoma State a first down, game over. Doesn't even need to go to overtime. Final score 31-28. Nope. They call a terrible false start, and then some sort of clock malfunction that I already mentioned occurs, which makes Oklahoma State kick a field goal with 55 seconds on the clock when the game should have been over, which gave Arkansas enough time to go down the field and kick a field goal of their own with 1 second left. So the whole second half, Arkansas's offense is now completely gone, and Oklahoma State is taking over the ball game, and then both teams kick it into overdrive right before overtime and into overtime, except for their kickers. Their kickers collapsed. Already in the game, the Arkansas kicker missed one. Then they chose not to bring out the Arkansas kicker because he lost faith in him, go for a fourth down conversion, don't get it. They need the kick. The 45-yarder is good, which is great. That was the only good performance by the kicker all game, really, for like either team. I guess the one for Oklahoma State with 55 left was good. But Arkansas doesn't get points. They go down the field, kick a field goal, at least put some points on. Dude misses it again. And it's like, oh my gosh, Oklahoma State is going to win this game. But what does the Oklahoma State kicker do? He misses it even more right after. They don't even try to move the ball. They just try to burn all the downs and line up their kicker. Dude misses it even more than the Arkansas kicker. Double overtime. Now there's no more kicking, at least from what I believe. I think you can maybe kick a field goal, but in terms of the extra point, I think it has to be a 2-point conversion now. But they went for 2 anyways, so Ollie Gordon finally wakes up after all game, gets a 12-yard running touchdown, and then they complete the 2-point conversion. And finally, Arkansas is not able to put the game together. They're not able to put the final drive of the game together, and Arkansas is not able to get the first down on 4th and 1. It was a run for loss of 1. Oklahoma State stands firm in overtime, double overtime, and wins an absolute ridiculous comeback. I mean, I mentioned everything in my other video, the one where I'm just shit-talking Oklahoma State, and I was even saying to the people who said Arkansas was going to win, you guys know what you're talking about, because Arkansas looks like they had this ball game. But you guys were wrong. I was right. Ha, ha, ha. No, I'm just kidding. But in that video, I pointed out the yards of offense and how hideous Oklahoma State looked. And straight out of the gates in the second quarter, Oklahoma State absolutely turned on the afterburners. And they ended up winning this game. Alan Bowman, I mean, he just had a pathetic first half, which is where like most of his incompletions and his only pick come from. But dude went 27 for 48, 326 yards, and 1 touchdown and 1 interception, which a lot of the bad stuff you hear was that first half. Dude entered clutch mode and just completely led Oklahoma State to a victory. Now, there was a play where he threw one like way down the field. It was a great pass, and he got called for taunting, which, like, why are you as such a veteran quarterback, such a mature quarterback at this point, going down the field and taunting Arkansas? What are you doing? But doesn't matter. Game's over. He'll learn from his mistake. And Arkansas really, they collapsed. I mean, they collapsed. You can't go into the halftime up 21-7 with Oklahoma State's only 7 points being a massive slip up on a pick six. If that doesn't happen, it's arguably 28-0 or at least 21-0. But that little slip up was just a bad part. And the second half just going invisible like that until the final 4 minutes of the game, maybe like the final 5 minutes. But even then, no points scored in overtime by the Arkansas offense, absolutely falling on their face. And Arkansas had a lot more yards of offense. They had 648 yards of offense to Oklahoma State's 385. That's like 200. That's like 260 yards more than Oklahoma State, but yet you're losing by 8 points. Well, here's why. They had 2 fumbles, and they were dropping the ball a lot in this game. I would just be on my phone like the game's going on. I'm waiting until it gets to the very end, and all of a sudden they just balls out, and I'm like, what? Look up at the screen, and it's just floating around in the field. They also failed a 4th down conversion, which this blew my mind. This call blew my mind. I know their kicker missed a field goal earlier, but they were lined up in field goal range, and they said because they couldn't trust their kicker that they were going to go for it on 4th and 4, like in the Oklahoma State 30 or something, or in like their 25. Mind-boggling play call for me. I don't care if your kicker missed one. Give him another damn shot, because ultimately you gave him plenty of other shots later in the game. Why would you give the offense the ball and they didn't convert it? It was such a hideous play call. I was freaking out. That counts as another turnover. The final play of the game was their other failed 4th down conversion. So, yeah, that should count. But, like, I guess it was end of the game or not. Like, that was the final play of the game. But ultimately, they had 4 in-game, not like game-determining, but like in-game turnovers. And that is just awful. That is awful. 2 fumbles and a hideous head coach playing call. I say the word hideous a lot. But, man, I will say either Arkansas has a ridiculous rush defense or Oklahoma State has an awful rush offense. And that's crazy with Ollie Gordon being your running back, because they only ran for 59 yards. That's where the real gap is in the yard difference. Now, Arkansas had 90 more yards of passing, but both teams had a lot of passing yards. 416 for Arkansas, 326 for Oklahoma State. But it's the rushing that's the main gap. It's like a 180-yard difference. And that's just terrible, having a quote-unquote Heisman candidate out running back. Even the announcers are saying it like, there you go, you want to get your Heisman candidate a rushing touchdown. Dude, after this game, he's not a Heisman candidate. I don't care how many games after this you could play. He should never re-enter the Heisman conversation after such a poor game against Arkansas. I mean, like, yeah, you could go to Big 12 play and let's say he has a Heisman year. But bro took one step outside of the Big 12 against Arkansas and had the worst game of his career. I'm not sure if that's necessarily true, but this was pretty damn bad. But I just needed to cover this one because, wow, watching this game was absolutely ridiculous. It was a great game. I was on my feet the whole time. Super fun game. Yeah. I guess some other games that are going on right now. Northern Illinois is currently giving Notre Dame a run for their money. Penn State barely beat Bowling Green by 7 points. Utah is kicking Baylor's teeth in. Iowa is handling Iowa State right now, at least in the first half. Cal Auburn is a close game. I forgot to cover that one. I didn't cover that one just because I must have scrolled past it. Even Idaho, Wyoming, I kind of wanted to cover. Just because those teams playing are interesting. Obviously, people are focused on Idaho after they played. That game is only a 4-point game. Idaho ahead. Georgia's steamrolling. UNLV is steamrolling. They might be a pretty big underdog this year. They actually might be relatively good. And then as we scroll down here, Kansas State ended up winning off of a pick against Tulane after a pretty awful pass interference call on the offense, which was a touchdown, but they called it back. Syracuse beat Georgia Tech. Pitt beat Cincinnati. That one was crazy to me. And yeah, that's pretty much all that has happened. Just little mini updates. South Carolina, Kentucky, don't care about that. Michigan State is playing Maryland relatively good right now. They're 1 yard out of the red zone. It's 7-14. That one is pretty interesting. And Washington is definitely struggling with Eastern Michigan right now. Oh, never mind. They went for it on 4th down and got a massive play. Okay, but I'll try to be back here in a little bit. I'm trying to pump out videos now. I did this last year, but for this first week of football, I was just not locked in. I want to be more locked in. But as the day goes on, I'll slowly start to activate less and less on YouTube. But I just wanted to cover this one because what a game. What a game for Oklahoma State. What a game for Arkansas, too. I mean, actually they look like a much better team than last year. If Oklahoma State ends up being one of the best teams in the Big 12, I mean, Arkansas definitely has a nice schedule, but I guess this game could be a determiner of the difference in skill level between the SEC and the Big 12. But I'm done yapping. A like and subscribe would help. A comment always helps. That's all for me. Adios.